The NFL fining Panthers owner David Tepper for this, and they fined him $300K for throwing a drink at a fan during Sunday's loss to the Jags. The league calling the behavior unacceptable. Tepper had this to say for himself. I'm deeply passionate about this team and regret my behavior on Sunday. I should have let NFL stadium security handle any issues that arose. I respect the NFL's code of conduct, and I accept the league's discipline for my behavior. Let's get in our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. JJ, what's been the reaction to Tepper's actions and the punishment for those actions around the league?
There was a lot of surprise around the league at the actions. Look, it is incredibly rare and uncommon to see anyone in a reasonable walk of life throw a drink at somebody, right? I mean, you see it on reality shows, but you really don't associate with people who do those things. So to see it was rather stunning. To see it from an NFL owner who ostensibly, in any case, is worth many billions of dollars, and in David Tepper's case is worth $20.6 billion, at least his net worth, according to Forbes, is rather remarkable. And if our producer can put up the statement, let's break down this statement, because he begins, of course, by talking about how he regrets his behavior. He's deeply passionate about this team, as though it makes it okay to throw a drink at someone because you're passionate about a team, and that you regret the behavior. There is no apology in this statement. One can only imagine how many man hours were spent on these couple of sentences, but no apology. And then I should have let NFL stadium security handle any issues that arose, as if to say that any issue, he was only reacting to an issue, that if he would have just brought someone over, that he wouldn't have had to throw a drink at someone. And he respects the NFL's code of conduct and accepts the league's discipline for the behavior, which is a $300,000 fine. It is a lot of money. It, of course, is not that much money to someone who is worth that much. And so while it is a larger fine, while it is a fine that is slightly larger than what the NFL fined the late Bud Adams, the Titans owner, for sending some middle fingers out to fans back in 2009. That was a $250,000 fine. There is no suspension attached to this. There was clearly not necessary to issue any sort of apology. And so rather remarkable series of events that I think has really spoken very loudly across the NFL about David Tepper, the job and jobs that may come open there, and the attractiveness of those jobs.
Yeah, that's where we want to go next. Frank Reich fired midway through this season. They're looking for a new head coach. How could this affect that search? Well, I mean, frankly, Chris, would you want to associate with anyone who throws drinks at people? Like just on a human level, I understand that we as journalists, as reporters, we're supposed to be unbiased. I'm talking about just as a human, right? Do you want to deal with anyone who does these things? The answer to that for me as a human is no. And so if you are considering this as an employee-employer relationship, I think that you just saw, in live Technicolor, what you could be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And so I have talked directly, firsthand, with folks who would be considered candidates for top jobs around the NFL, who have told me that one person said they're thinking twice if Tepper winds up requesting to interview them. Somebody else has said that they wouldn't even take the interview. The jobs, and I have reported this for some time, at least at the head coach position, there is a fear, if you are a Carolina Panthers fan or if you're David Tepper himself, that you would be used as leverage for a better job. That everyone knows David Tepper is one of the richest owners in the NFL and can spend a lot of money to attract a certain candidate. And so if another team that you may find may be better situated and suited for your services, but you can have a stalking horse out there, that is the Carolina Panthers, and all the money that David Tepper may throw at you, that can help you, that can create leverage. And so what you have right now is a Panthers franchise that in successive years since David Tepper's ownership has
won fewer games and lost more games. You have a #1 overall draft pick in Bryce Young that I think plenty of coaches and GMs would believe in, but it's been a difficult year. If you are a GM and maybe Scott Fitterer holds on to his job, maybe not. Folks outside of that building are thinking that Tepper is going to move on from Scott Fitterer and that there will be a refresh there in Carolina. If you're Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator, who is going to be sought after, who is going to have options, if you have options, is that the job that you ultimately want to take? A job that, frankly, probably could have been yours if you had gotten on the plane last year and you decided not to and remain in Detroit. And so a number of issues here for the Carolina Panthers that, of course, stem from the top down, and we haven't gotten into all of the pros and cons of David Tepper's ownership over the past half decade. But this was sort of proof positive of what has been whispered about with David Tepper, what folks around the league have talked about, what it may be like to work under him or for him. And so I think that, again, on a human level, it should give someone pause. And I can tell you, as a reporter talking to people who could be employed by the Carolina Panthers and who are employed by another NFL team or teams, that they have been given pause by the actions of David Tepper 72 or so hours ago.
A lot of lists out there where the Panthers would be dead last in the NFL as far as attractiveness. But are there any pros to this organization, to this head coaching vacancy, to this program?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I'm broadcasting live from North Carolina right now. Love this state, and look, Charlotte's a wonderful place to be and raise a family and cost of living and all that. So first of all, you have the attractiveness of the city. The facilities are less than. You're going to find better facilities at more than half of the NFL teams. You have certainly such a low bar recently that winning 6, 7, 8 games, well, gosh, that's going to be great. You have Bryce Young, if you believe in Bryce. You have a lot of you're going to have some cap space, right? There are good pieces within that organization, certainly on the coaching staff, within the personnel department, on the business side. You have a fan base that's just so desperate to win, that wants to love someone so badly, that can bring the Carolina Panthers back to relevancy like they were in the mid-2010s. And so there are pros to it, and let's not forget the money that you would be paid by the owner that is worth $20.6 billion. So yes, there are pros to the job. And ultimately, Chris, let's be clear, let's be fair, let's be honest. The Carolina Panthers will ultimately get a very good head coach and potentially a very good general manager candidate for these jobs. People can puff their chests out and say that they won't interview or don't want that job. Well, when that contract is right in front of you, and after you have been wooed, and after you've visited wherever you're going on the second interview, you may very well change your tune. It may be easy right now with the thought of a few options that you'll choose somewhere else. We'll see what winds up happening in a couple of weeks. Ultimately, the Carolina Panthers will get a quality candidate, but it's going to be a long process.
All right, Jonathan Jones with us here. Only 32 of those jobs, head coaching, general manager, only 32 of them, so they are scarce, and somebody is going to want that job. Jonathan Jones, thank you so much, as David Tepper is fined $300,000 for throwing that drink at a fan over the weekend. Pick Six podcast, all things NFL every single day. The latest episode from yesterday, Pete Prisco joins the show talking his NFL power rankings. A little bit later on this afternoon, brand new episode will drop with our Lige Douzable.